Hello and welcome to today's podcast episode, talking about weather and seasons. I'm Alex and with me is Mia. How are you doing, Mia?
Hey, Alex! I'm doing really well. I'm actually really excited about this episode. Weather is something we all experience every single day, yet we often overlook how deeply it shapes our mood, our routines, and even our long-term plans.
Exactly. People talk about the weather casually all the time, like small talk in elevators or before meetings. But if you go deeper, it's one of the most powerful forces that governs human life. Our food, our travel, even our traditions. They're all tied to weather and the changing seasons.
Right! And it's funny because weather is both predictable and unpredictable at the same time. We know winter comes after fall, summer follows spring, but within that, the actual daily changes can still surprise us. Like one day it's warm and sunny, the next day suddenly cloudy with rain.
That's true, and it's those surprises that keep us on our toes. Let's start simple. Mia, which season is your absolute favorite and why?
I'd say spring is my favorite. There's just something magical about it. After the cold and often gloomy winter, suddenly you see green shoots, flowers blooming. The days get a little longer. It feels like nature itself is waking up, stretching after a long sleep. There's a freshness in the air that gives me energy.
I can relate to that. Spring is like a fresh start, but I personally have a soft spot for rainy days. Maybe it's the sound of rain hitting the windows or the earthy smell of wet ground. It makes me feel calm, almost like the world is slowing down for a while.
Oh, I get that. Rain can be so soothing, though I'll admit if it goes on for too many days, it can also make me feel a little heavy. But that first rainfall after a hot spell? That's pure bliss.
You know, it's interesting. Different cultures around the world have different ways of celebrating weather and seasons. Like in Japan, the blooming of cherry blossoms in spring is a huge national event. People gather under the trees, have picnics, and just enjoy the fleeting beauty of flowers.
Yeah, exactly. And in India, the arrival of monsoon rains is practically a festival in itself because it brings relief after months of intense summer heat. Farmers depend on it. Children play in the puddles, and everyone welcomes it with open arms.
Seasons really define traditions. Even here in the West, think about winter holidays. Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, they're all tied to the season of cold, snow, and gathering indoors. Summer brings music festivals, beach vacations, and outdoor barbecues.
That's so true. The weather isn't just background, it's almost like a character in the story of our lives. It dictates how we dress, what we eat, how we commute, and even how we feel emotionally.
Speaking of emotions, do you notice your mood changes with different weather?
Oh, absolutely. Sunny days instantly lift me up. I feel more motivated, more social. On the other hand, gray skies and continuous rain sometimes make me want to just curl up in bed with a blanket and not do much.
Same here. There's even research that links weather with our mental state. Seasonal affective disorder, for example, is a condition where people feel depressed during long winters when there's less sunlight.
Lack of sunlight reduces serotonin levels, right? It's amazing how something as simple as daylight can play such a big role in our well-being. That's why some people buy those light therapy lamps to mimic natural sunlight.
Exactly. And then there's the flip side. Too much sunlight, like extreme summer heat, can drain you completely. It can cause fatigue, dehydration, and even irritability.
Oh, yes, I've experienced that. When it's super hot, I feel like my brain slows down, but give me a crisp autumn day with a gentle breeze, and I feel alive again.
Autumn is actually a very poetic season. The falling leaves, the golden colors, that sense of change in the air, it often makes people reflective.
Right. And autumn also brings harvest festivals in many cultures. It's like nature's way of rewarding months of hard work. People gather food, celebrate abundance, and prepare for the quiet of winter.
That's a good point. Every season has its rhythm. Growth in spring, activity in summer, reflection in autumn, rest in winter. Almost like a cycle that mirrors human life stages.
Wow, I never thought of it that way, but you're right. It's like nature's calendar teaching us balance.
Exactly. Speaking of balance, how do you personally adapt your lifestyle to the seasons?
Good question. In summer, I try to wake up earlier before the heat sets in. I also drink a lot of fluids and prefer light meals. In winter, I adjust by layering clothes, making more soups and teas, and going for walks during the daytime to catch some sunlight.
That's smart. I think food especially changes so much with the seasons. Summer is all about fresh fruits, salads, and cold drinks. Winter calls for comfort food, warm stews, baked dishes, hot chocolate.
Exactly. And even our exercise routines change, like I'll go jogging outdoors in spring and summer, but in winter, I tend to do more indoor workouts.
Makes sense. You know, when we talk about weather, we also can't ignore how it's been changing in recent years because of climate change. Seasons are shifting, summers are getting hotter, winters milder in some places, and extreme weather events are more common.
Yes, and that affects everything. Agriculture, cities, even human health. It's not just about comfort anymore, it's about survival and sustainability.
Absolutely. But let's not go too deep into the climate crisis just yet. I want to keep this episode balanced between appreciating the beauty of weather and acknowledging the challenges.
I agree. After all, weather is also something we can enjoy daily if we learn to live in sync with it.
True. Actually, I have a little game for us later. I'll name a type of weather and we'll each share a memory or feeling connected to it.
That sounds fun. I already have a few memories popping into my head.
Perfect. But before we jump into that, let's talk about how seasons differ across the world. Not everyone has the 4 traditional seasons like spring, summer, autumn, and winter.
Right! Countries near the equator often just have wet and dry seasons, and places like the Arctic have long periods of daylight in summer and months of darkness in winter.
Exactly. Imagine living in a place where the sun never sets for weeks. That would completely change your sense of time and routine.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Weather teaches us that the human experience is incredibly diverse. What feels normal to me in my region might be completely unusual to someone else.
And yet, weather unites us too, because wherever we are, we all respond to it, adapt to it, and sometimes even complain about it.
Haha, that's true. Complaining about the weather is almost a universal human trait.
Okay, so here's the game I promised. I'll say a weather type and you give me a personal story or memory. Then I'll share mine. Ready?
Ready.
All right. First one, snow.
Oh, snow instantly makes me think of my childhood. I grew up in a place where winters meant thick blankets of snow. I remember building snowmen with my siblings, making snow angels, and then running back inside with red cheeks to drink hot cocoa. What about you?
For me, snow reminds me of my first ski trip. I was terrible at skiing, fell 100 times, but the beauty of the mountains covered in white was unforgettable. I realized that snow transforms the entire landscape into something magical.
Totally agree. Okay, my turn to give you a word, thunderstorm.
Ooh, thunderstorms! I remember being a kid and being scared of the loud thunderclaps, but as I grew older, I started enjoying them. One summer night, I sat by the window just watching lightning light up the sky. It felt powerful and humbling.
I love that. For me, thunderstorms remind me of camping trips. Once we were caught in a tent during a storm, and though it was scary, it also brought us closer as a family, huddling together, telling stories while the rain hammered outside.
Wow, that's a vivid memory. Okay, last one for this round. Sunshine.
Sunshine instantly makes me think of vacations by the beach, lying on the warm sand, listening to the waves and feeling the sun on my skin. That's pure happiness.
For me, it's early morning sunshine on cold days. That first golden ray that cuts through the chill makes everything feel hopeful.
Beautifully said, see? Weather connects us to memories, to emotions, to each other.
So Mia, why don't we dive into each season one by one? Let's start with summer, since that's usually the season most people associate with fun and travel.
Oh, yes. Summer is almost like the season of freedom. For kids, it's the big school break. For families, it's the time to take vacations. The long days, the warmth, the abundance of fruits. It feels like life is in full swing.
I remember my summers as a kid, ice creams dripping too fast to finish, playing outside until the sun finally set late in the evening, and the excitement of road trips with family.
For me, summer always had this dual personality. On one hand, it's so joyful and alive, but on the other, the heat could be unbearable sometimes. Especially during heat waves, I'd just hide indoors with the fan or AC blasting.
True. Summer is definitely a season where you need to manage yourself carefully. Hydration, sunscreen, and all that. But I do love summer festivals. There's something about outdoor concerts, food fairs, and fireworks that feels uniquely summerish.
Exactly. And summer food. That's another highlight. Watermelon, lemonade, grilled corn, cold salads. It's like your taste buds know it's time for refreshing flavors.
And don't forget beach trips. Nothing says summer like walking barefoot on warm sand, dipping your toes in the ocean, and maybe even trying to surf.
Haha, I tried surfing once and ended up swallowing half the sea. But you're right, beaches are magical in summer. The combination of sun, sea, and sky makes you feel both tiny and infinite at the same time.
Nicely said. Okay, moving on. Autumn. I think autumn is underrated. It doesn't have the wild energy of summer or the cozy vibe of winter, but it has this quiet beauty.
Oh, I love autumn. The colors of the leaves, golden, red, orange, it's like nature is painting the world. Walking through a park filled with crunchy leaves is such a simple joy.
Autumn also signals change, doesn't it? Schools reopen, routines get stricter, the air turns cooler. It's a transitional season, preparing us for winter.
Yes, and it's deeply symbolic too. In literature and poetry, autumn often represents maturity, reflection, and letting go. Just like trees shedding leaves, we too reflect on what to release before winter comes.
That's beautiful. And autumn traditions are fascinating. In the US, you've got Thanksgiving, a harvest festival that brings families together. In many countries, autumn marks the time for gathering crops, celebrating abundance, and showing gratitude.
And let's not forget Halloween. Costumes, pumpkins, spooky stories, it's such a fun cultural marker of autumn.
True, and autumn food is wonderful too. Pumpkin pies, hot apple cider, roasted nuts. There's a warmth in the flavors even before winter starts.
I think autumn teaches us to slow down. After the excitement of summer, it says, take a breath, reflect, and prepare.
Well said. Now winter. Winter is kind of a polarizing season. Some people absolutely love it, others dread it. Which camp are you in?
I'd say I'm in the middle. I love the cozy parts. Hot chocolate, warm blankets, festive lights, the whole holiday spirit. But the dark mornings and the bitter cold? That I could do without.
Haha, same here. For me, winter holds some of my fondest memories though. Waking up to find the world covered in snow, going sledding with friends, or just sitting by the fireplace with a book. It has its magic.
Oh, absolutely. Winter holidays also make it special. Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. It's a time of family, traditions, and hope.
But winter can also be tough. Short days, limited sunlight, the extra effort it takes to just leave the house. You need resilience.
True, but that resilience teaches us something. It's almost like winter reminds us of endurance and patience. Plus, the moment spring arrives after winter feels extra rewarding because of what we endured.
Speaking of spring, we've already touched on it earlier, but let's give it its due. Spring is the season of rebirth.
Oh, yes, I adore spring. The blossoms, the chirping of birds, the longer days. There's an energy in spring that feels contagious. You want to start new projects, go outside more, and reconnect with the world.
Right, and many cultures celebrate spring with festivals of color, flowers, and light. Like Holi in India, which is literally a festival of colors, symbolizing joy and renewal.
Or Easter, which has symbols of rebirth and renewal as well. Even in Japan, cherry blossom season is practically a national holiday. People plan picnics weeks in advance just to sit under blooming trees.
Spring also affects food and lifestyle. Farmers plant new crops, people start eating fresher produce again, and wardrobes shift from heavy coats to lighter clothes.
And emotionally, spring is like hope blooming again. After winter's darkness, you suddenly feel lighter, more optimistic.
It's fascinating how the seasons together create a cycle. Energy in spring, joy in summer, reflection in autumn, rest in winter. Then it repeats.
Yes, like nature's rhythm teaching us how to live in balance. If you think about it, maybe humans are also meant to follow that cycle, working hard in some phases, resting in others, and constantly renewing.
That's a profound thought. It makes me wonder, do you think we modern humans have drifted away from that natural rhythm?
In some ways, yes. Our technology allows us to light up nights, cool down summers, heat up winters, so we're less dependent on seasons. But deep down, our bodies and minds still respond to them.
Very true. Our circadian rhythms, our moods, even our immune systems, they still sync with the seasons, whether we acknowledge it or not.
And that's why respecting the seasons is important. They're not just background scenery, they're fundamental to our health and happiness.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, talking about all this reminds me of how every season has its own soundtrack, too. Like summer songs are upbeat and fast, winter songs are calm and cozy. Even art and music are influenced by seasons.
Great point. Vivaldi's The Four Seasons is literally a musical interpretation of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And modern artists still release summer anthems or winter ballads tied to seasonal moods. Oi.
That shows just how universal this connection is. Weather and seasons aren't just physical, they're cultural, emotional, and artistic too.
So true. And that's why we never run out of things to say when it comes to this topic. You know, Mia, earlier you mentioned how seasons influence art and music. That makes me think weather also has a huge emotional impact on us, even subconsciously.
Absolutely, think about rain. Some people find it romantic, some find it gloomy, some find it cleansing. It's the same weather, but it triggers completely different emotions in people depending on their mindset and experiences.
That's so true. And even colors in the sky, like a golden sunset, can make you feel peaceful, while a stormy gray sky can make you feel restless. Weather paints our emotional background without us even realizing it.
Exactly. And if you think about it, human language is full of weather metaphors. We say someone has a sunny personality or a stormy mood, or we describe a situation as icy cold.
Yes, It shows how deeply weather is woven into how we express emotions. It's not just climate, it's culture, psychology, and even communication.
And let's not forget how weather affects social life. For example, in summer, people tend to be more outgoing. Parties, picnics, vacations. In winter, many people retreat indoors, leading to a more intimate lifestyle with family and close friends.
Right. Seasons shift not only individual moods but also collective behavior. Whole communities change their rhythm together. That's powerful.
Definitely. Now, if we look globally, weather and seasons create completely different lifestyles across the world. Like people in Scandinavia have long, dark winters and short, bright summers, while people near the equator live with fairly consistent temperatures but dramatic wet and dry seasons.
Thank you all for joining us in this episode of Talking About Weather and Seasons. We've traveled through sunshine, rain, snow, and blossoms, exploring not just how weather affects our daily lives, but how it shapes our cultures, emotions, and even our future.
We hope this conversation inspires you to look at the sky differently, to notice the seasons around you, and to embrace every type of weather with a little more gratitude.
Remember, every season has its purpose, and every storm eventually passes.
Well said, Alex. And thank you, listeners, for being part of our journey today. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and don't forget to enjoy the weather, whatever it may be.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye!